Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Hoppets. Today looking at some European hype that we got from Beer Dome. So thanks to Beer Dome for the beer. Link for the shop is down below. This is a beer that a lot of people told me is just nuts. It's an Omnipollo collab beer that they did together with Bottle Logic and Moksa. And, you know, two very hype breweries. Most of you guys know them. They do amazing beers, especially with these ingredients, because it's a coconut and vanilla Imperial Stout aged in Willet family bourbon barrels. And Willet family estate. And it's 14%, and this is Carême. I've seen a lot of people say that this, along with Andromeda, shows, you know, they hope that this is the direction Omnipollo is going, because they're made with the real ingredients, and they're not like these really fake extract beers. Like, I haven't checked out a lot of Omnipollo beers in a while because they've had so many releases of stouts and whatnot. There's not been anywhere I've been really blown away for a long time, so I kind of stopped checking out a lot. But then this came along with the Noah in for Rose's barrels and some different stuff where they've really been starting to play around. And you know, a lot of people just saying this is so interesting, and they're getting really excited to see what that will mean for the new brewery they're opening up in a church in Sweden, which is nuts. Really cool. They're opening up a brewery in a freaking church. But they're really, you know, trying to do more of what people are saying. And I love that Omnipollo actually listens as well. A lot of people critique their beers for being not as thick and not as, like, they're a bit too fake tasting. What do? They team up with some of their pals that knows how to do these amazing beers, and they try and release something that's more toward what people are talking about. I love it. It's I think it's really cool. It's really cool. I'm not sure it's exactly because, you know, they listen to what everyone said in different blogs or Untappd ratings or whatever, but it just seems like the word in general from most people I know has been that. And then they listened. They did with Andromeda last year, which was amazing. And that's also a coconut beer. That's also Bottle Logic, and then also Three Sons, which is the experimental weeded bourbon barrels from Buffalo Trace. But this one, it sounds so. It's 14%, and the fun thing is, like, when Henok was talking with the guys of Moksa and Bottle Logic about the final result and whatnot, and also he said in the description about the beer online that he brewed a really thick base. Like, that's what people want nowadays, and that's what I want too, especially in pastry stuff. You need some heft for all that sweet craziness and adjuncts. And he said just when he was, when they came out, the barrels is almost ready to do, they were like, yeah, but you should maybe add a little bit more coconut and vanilla, just another treatment, and they did. So an extra treatment of coconut and vanilla, which is nuts. Yeah, 14%. It also just looked thick pouring out, and you can see it's real coconut because it's just filled with these coagulated fat or protein lumps. Or I don't think it's actual coconut. I think that's pretty much what it is. It could be coconut, but I've heard it's like protein or something, and you can just see fat on top of the glass. And even though I'm sitting like this, I'm just trying to hold my breath so I don't spoil the reaction here. So Carême, let's check it out. Pours a thick motor oil looking sludgy Imperial Stout. I mean, it's so black and thick. It's like Coca-Cola. I don't know if you guys can hear that. If I just hold this up to the microphone. Listen. I hope you heard that. It's just, that's the head. It dissipates like that. It's just going away like instantly. This is crazy. You know, we've had a few beers. This almost reminds me of, when we had the Sacrifice from Anchorage, because that also did the same thing. Like, you swirl up ahead and it just fits it well because of all the fat and oil and whatnot. But yeah, it looks great otherwise, even though there's no head. But let's check out the aroma on Carême. Oh yeah, that's a lot of coconut. Loads of coconut and vanilla. Like vanilla frosting and desiccated, like almost like a vanilla coconut frosting. This is like how real pastry stout smells, if you can say it like that. Not like all these like super artificial palate fatiguing, palate wrecking aromas. It's just, it smells like the real deal, and that's what I want if I want pastry. You can boost it a little bit with the real thing, but yeah. With the fake stuff, but you want the real thing. It has this, when I often get these beers with loads of vanilla pods, and coconut. Then from the pot itself, there's almost a licorice vibe, and it like reminds me of Danish confectionaries candies with a licorice and coconut filling. I talked about it a little bit. It's like it's also in the best. It's also it's got like a licorice center, and then it has like a red or yellow filling on the outside with desiccated coconut. Yeah, this smells great. Besides all that, there's almost into the same vibe of like there's like this really big caramel thing. So it's like got that almost like drømmekage topping. Not as intense as in the sacrifice, but it's a similar vibe. Not as also like sludgy smelling and whatnot. And then it also, actually interesting enough, the barrel character on it, it lends more of, a bit of a boozy touch, but also just more vanilla. And there's maybe a little bit of an oak underneath. It's not like the barrel shines like crazy. What I mostly get from the barrel is like the barrel vanillin type oaky vanillin aromas. And, I'm probably going to taste it more. I've rambled enough. It's almost 9 minutes. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Thanks to Beer Dome for the beer. Oh. Oh. Yes. Omnipollo is back on track. Just what I said. Wow. This is like a small sacrifice. Or no, not small. Just the sacrifice little brother. It's very much in that vein. The sacrifice, I feel like, is just even though it's done aged in bourbon barrels, it's just a notch bigger and more intense than this. And that's not got vanilla, but the coconut is crazy on this. It's for sure this creme brulee coconut topping thing, like the topping of the drømmekage. Rich and thick, and you can still buy this on Omnipollo's own web shop. It's so thick and rich. Umami too, like some charry, roasty umami to balance it out. It's not too sweet, and the barrel really cuts a lot of the sweetness. I feel like pastry stouts. They can be fun on their own, but they work so much better in barrels because like the spirit really helps disrupt the base that's already kind of sweet and everything. Like it's another element that just really helps balance out the pastrification of a stout. This is really good. I am very glad I got a bottle of this. I am a bit sad I didn't get another one, but I can just hop onto Omnipollo's web shop and still get it, which is awesome. This, it screams, the Moksa type and Bottle Logic style stout. So very similar to what they do, 100%. Super intense, in especially Moksa, really intense on the adjunct flavor. I had some Moksa at MBCC last year, and also when Derek was at Abnormal, and it screams, what he does, like loads of the original ingredient, the real ingredient, not fake stuff, and just boatloads of flavor from it. But you still taste a little bit of the base, but the adjuncts really shine. Like the base just gives off like this really charry, roasty, slightly umami flavor. Loads of like dense muscovado sugar-esque vibes too, and like dark chocolate. It's really good, like a brownie-esque. So much coconut, man. It's crazy. It's almost like the vanilla is definitely there, but it's almost like coconut is just shining like crazy. I'm glad I cracked this now instead of sitting on it in half a year like I've done with so many other some of these like the heavy adjunct beers. But wow, it's just crazy intense. The barrel character, that might be my only real beef. It doesn't pop and shine as much because the adjuncts are so crazy, but it really is there to balance everything out. I mean, it's really mostly there in terms of a spirit type warmth, and what kind of just lets you know that it's bourbon is that I think like a lot of that caramelized flavor and caramelized creme brulee topping is coming from that bourbon barrel. A lot, so that, and then the fact that it really helps balancing out like this super thick, rich beer, really mouth coating. I love that it has some umami to balance out all that too. Like it just cuts all that like crazy sweetness. or crazy sweetness. It's not actually. It doesn't feel overtly sweet. It is sweet, but it doesn't feel overtly sweet just because there's roastiness and everything too, which is what you want in this. I think pastry boys will love this too, but a lot of regular, like more old school drinkers will love it too because it has like a roast profile. But for like people who just love crazy pastry, it's got enough crazy pastry still. Fantastic. This is how you do a pastry stout. This is how you do a pastry stout. Just like with a lot of the, American breweries that are doing it with just the real ingredients. You get like this just crazy intense flavorsome beer. Ratings. I still prefer the Sacrifice a little bit more. I felt like this is a bit more fizzy. Like not really fizzy, but it just has a little bit more carbonation. It's still like a full, thick, and rich mouthfeel. But it's just, carbonation is, if I have to pick a little beat. And I also like the flavors, even though they're super full on, it just doesn't seem as cohesive and combined and rich and nice as in the Sacrifice. That was a bit more over the top maybe, but this is still at least a 97. Yeah. I think a 97 just like Andromeda, because that's what I gave that to. And I gave 98 to Sacrifice. I preferred that a little bit more, but it's just nitpicking. So yeah, 97. World class coconut, vanilla, bourbon barrel aged Imperial pastry stout done right. Pastry stout done right. If you want to check out this stuff, you should right now when you can still get it. I really, really urge you guys to hop on Omnipollo's website and get some bottles. They're not cheap. They're 22 euros a bottle, but beers like this are often even more expensive to make in Europe. And I know because I know prices on a lot of these ingredients, especially vanilla. A beer with this much vanilla, prices go up. And also because they're getting willet barrels or stuff like this. Getting really great bourbon barrels for barrel aging in Europe and hand selecting and all this stuff which they get to do in the States, we don't really get to do that the same way. So getting barrels over here is a bit harder and more expensive, especially to get like the really hype stuff. So they've got like Willet Family Estate. That's not something you just get as easily as if you got a Jack Daniel's barrel or maybe Jim Beam or whatnot, like some more easy to get. They can also still get some great results, but those are just, they're not as good bourbons. But yeah, fantastic. 97 for Carême by Omnipollo. Bottle Logic and Moksa. Get yourself some while you still can. If you already cracked one of your bottles or your bottle, let me know what you thought of it. This was fantastic. Thanks a ton to Beer Dome for this one. Man, this is great. So if you guys had it, let me know. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I'm going to say cheers and delicious coconut vanilla bourbon barrel aged Imperial stout that is super thick. And see you guys in another beer review.